It's time for another first-person photo walk video in Stockholm, my hometown. And just want to mention a couple of things before we jump into the video. First of all, I always get asked about my gear. I want to talk a minute about my camera and lens. So this is the Sony a7C II. I really love this camera because it's a very compact full-frame camera with a very good sensor with extremely high dynamic range and excellent autofocus. What more can you ask for? Love this camera. I switched my A7 IV for this one a few months ago, and I'm really happy to have a lighter and more compact camera that you can more easily carry around and take out of your bag without the viewfinder like getting stuck in things and stuff. The lens is the Samyang 75mm f1.8, and this is such an incredible value for money, this lens. It's only around $300 new, at least that is what I bought it for. And it is, as you can see, very, very compact. And not only that, it is also extremely lightweight. Since it is made out of plastic, it weighs basically nothing. And you get very nice bokeh, very nice rendering with this lens. It has fast autofocus motor, and I really love it. And it's perfect to have this combination when you're doing street photography. Nice to have something lightweight and small and not too intimidating. Lastly, the strap is the Peak Design leash. All of these products are linked in the description if you want to check them out. Always helps me a lot whenever you use my affiliate links because yeah, it's an important revenue stream for this channel. All right, let's jump into the photo walk. I'm going to provide some commentary here as I do this photo walk. This is obviously me at the office after the fact. Today it was a pretty boring day. Boring weather, cloudy, so I did not have high expectations, but as I mentioned in earlier videos, I decided to go out anyway to see what I could get. And here you see an example of the bokeh from this Samyang 75mm. I really love the look of this lens. I've been doing like 8 or 9 street photography photo walks now since I decided to try it, and I still feel very excited about it each time I go out, and this might be my new thing for some time to come. It feels like that right now at least. And I can feel that I get more and more courage to photograph people. For example, this photo that I'm taking right here, that would never have happened a couple of weeks ago. I would have been too scared to put the camera to my eye and just photograph people like that. But each time I go out, I feel more and more comfortable and confident. And I think that comes down to the amount of hours you have out in the field doing this and the amount of positive experiences you have. So far I've been doing this, as I said, 8 or 9 times, maybe a couple of hours each time, so like 16-20 hours. And I've not had a single bad interaction so far. So I think that is probably what builds confidence. You just need to put in the hours. A couple of months ago, when I made the video that I was fed up with macro photography, I honestly didn't really think that I would continue on this photography channel. I honestly thought that my new thing would be the other channel where I talk about life and philosophy and so on. But I did a few videos there, and what I discovered was that it wasn't really exciting.
Oh, thanks.
What I missed was the excitement of going out with a camera, not knowing what you're about to catch, and just walking around and trying to find beautiful things. I discovered that I really missed that, and sitting inside just talking to a camera, it is not as exciting. So I think that was what drawed me back to doing photography videos. I still do feel fed up with macro photography. So I'm really happy that I have found street photography, at least for now. This makes me very excited, and I hope it will continue make me excited for a long time to come, because then this channel will have a future. And speaking of that, I got so many positive, kind, encouraging comments on my last street photography POV video that I posted. Even though that video was very, very sloppy, I basically did no editing at all. It was long periods of just boring footage of me walking, not saying anything. But I decided to do that video as a test. If you would accept that video, I might have a future as a street photographer on YouTube. And with this video I'm making more effort, I have a bit tighter editing, and I'm doing more talking to keep the video a bit more interesting. And please tell me what you think about this format in the comments. So in this video I have a new action camera, the DJI Action 5 Pro. And the reason I got it was that the GoPro Hero that I used the last time was, it just had like 50 to 60 minutes of battery life. And this camera has a lot more, supposedly at least. Also it has a bigger sensor with much better image quality, especially in low light. So I decided to invest in it to be able to do better videos of this kind. So this video is around 15 minutes of my highlights from this photo walk, with the photos that I think came out acceptable. I took around 200 photos in total, but I'm only showing you around 20-25 photos in this video. And the walk took around 2 hours in total. And often I walked for periods of like 20 minutes without finding a single good photo, and I've obviously cut away those parts of the photo walk. But I think it's important to talk about this so you don't think that I just walked for 20 minutes and I got all these photos in just 20 minutes. I still use a mix of electronic shutter and mechanical shutter on my camera. I have like a quick button for switching between the two, and the electronic shutter works well in most cases, except when you have fast movement, then you can get a warped picture. So if I have fast movement, I try to use the mechanical shutter. But the electronic shutter still feels very nice for me as a beginner in street photography. I don't want it to be too obvious when I'm photographing other people. I don't want to destroy the scene or to get anyone upset. But my goal is, of course, that I will someday, maybe in a few weeks from now, only use the mechanical shutter and really own my pictures, to own the fact that I'm photographing whatever I'm photographing. That is my goal, but one step at a time. So the light started to become interesting, and I decided to hop on this ferry between the islands in Stockholm, because I've seen other Stockholm street photographers get some nice photos in the ferry through the windows, so I decided to try that for myself. And when I stood here waiting, I noticed some interesting shapes. And for me, street photography is not really street photography in the classical sense. I like to photograph anything that I find aesthetically pleasing. It could be a scene with people in it, it could be a distinctive person, but it could also be something like this. just interesting shapes and colors. One of my biggest inspirations in street photography is Sol Leiter, one of the legends, and he's known mostly for shots through windows with graphical shapes and for often using a long telephoto lens. So this is right up my alley. I love taking these kinds of abstract shots. And right when I stepped into the boat, I immediately saw that we had some beautiful sun rays coming through the clouds and this interesting carousel through the window. I figured it could be a great photo. I first tried this composition, and while I think it works, it is not perfect. I tried to find a position where I could get the whole window as a frame. And I really find this cheap composition trick to be very nice to frame using objects around you. And I think this is actually one of my favorite shots from today. I actually loved the few minutes I was on this boat because the windows give so many opportunities to get interesting compositions with layers and framing. So if you have some kind of ferry in your town, I can really recommend going on a ride because you have a lot of interesting photo opportunities. Also, you don't need to feel weird for doing photography there because you will be there with mostly other tourists who are also doing photography, so no one will think twice about you photographing. I noticed people started to point towards something on the left. I had no idea by this time what it was. And can you see what it is? I think this is the first time I see a seal in central Stockholm. I've never seen one before. I had no idea that they were this close to the city. I don't do a lot of editing of my photos. I usually never spend more than a few seconds on each photo. And for the photos in this video, I mostly adjusted the shadows and highlights, and also I played around a bit with the white balance. Many of the photos in this video I made a bit more yellow than they were in reality because I really love the warm tones that you can get very easily by just dragging the white balance slider in Lightroom. Also, I typically add a little bit of grain in Lightroom and a little bit of vignetting. I really love that look and I apply it to most photos. Back in town, I decided to spend a few minutes in this area around Slussen, and I like this area a lot because it's open surfaces, which makes for simple, nice compositions with simple shapes and patterns, and also you have a lot of people passing by, so you can use them in your scene to make it feel a bit more alive. I noticed that you have some interesting shapes here with this new bridge that I have built here. And I really love how these photos came out. I love the simplicity, the minimalism and the shapes. This is probably one of my top 3 favorite photos from this photo walk. And please comment below what photos you liked the most. It's really interesting to hear other people's opinions on this to see if they match mine. I'm also quite happy with this photo. I love the contrast and the shade that builds gradually. And with that, I am wrapping up this video. Please tell me in the comments what you thought about it and if I should continue doing videos in this style or if I should change something. I really enjoyed making this video, so if you are happy with it, I will probably make more of them.